This is Buffalo's Uncensored Sports Show. You're watching Buffalo After Dark. Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday night, June 19th. Of course, you got me, you got Hanson, and yes, we are live on YouTube right now, so of course, thanks for everybody checking us out. How's things going?
Good, and everything has been all right in general. Work's been crazy as of late. We're just starting to get the summer season rolling. We're almost halfway through the Stanley Cup Finals already, and holy shit, we might see a reverse sweep depending on what happens throughout the week. And we're just getting started with baseball news, and sure enough, we're also talking about a bunch of other things that are coming our way. So it's going to be a really stacked night, so I can't wait to do it, honestly.
Yep, for sure. So, of course, if you want to jump on and give us a call, 929-205-6099, we'll get you on with us. And let's jump right into it because, of course, as you know, we go about an hour or so. We want to make it count. Lots of action in the 2024 Stanley Cup Finals. And right now, all I can say is I will very much be surprised if Edmonton gets another win like they did the other night when they ended up beating Florida 8-1. But all I can say is that's probably their last-ditch effort because I do not see this going any further.
Well, at least for the Panthers, they're up 3-2. That's a start. But if I'm a Panthers fan and I'm looking at that series, I'm saying to myself, okay, whatever, you lost game 4. Then you lose game 5. Then it starts to become a concern. It's like, is this team going to collapse before our very eyes? Or are we going to see this team rebel on Friday night and win game 6 and end the season? Because it's getting to a point now where the Panthers, for the first 3 games, have just outright dominated the Oilers. And then game 4, okay, whatever, it was a blowout. You know, go back to Miami and win it in game 5.
Right.
Game 5 comes, and it doesn't even bother to show. The Panthers just looked like absolute shit. They did. They looked like utter shit.
It's like, come on, Florida. You've got one job, and you've dominated the majority of the series. It's like, don't take your foot off the gas now. This is when you put your foot on the gas even more and basically put it down their throat.
Without a doubt. But I also think, too, that Matt Tkachuk is actually the one to blame for this. I blame Matty Tkachuk for what happened on yesterday. When, if you remember the famous Mark Messier quote where he said, "We will win game 6 in 1994 against the Devils."
Yeah.
Matty Tkachuk, if you haven't seen it, tried to do the same thing. He thought that it was so clever that he thought, let me try to mimic Mark Messier and guarantee a Game 5 win in the Stanley Cup. The biggest mistake that any team could do is get cocky and then make stupid remarks like that, and then it blows up in your face. And this is why now people are now looking at the Florida Panthers in the face, and they're saying, are you guys legit or are you guys frauds? Because there's going to be 2 different versions of the Panthers we're going to see going forward. Either it's going to be the Panthers team that rebels and came back and play like they did in games 1 through 3 and outright dominated the Oilers and win the Cup on Friday, or is this going to be the team that blows a 3-0 lead and then shit the bed when it matters most in game 7 back in Miami? What the fuck is going on is beyond me. But you don't make statements like Matty Tkachuk said. You know, he said he guaranteed a game 5 win for the Stanley Cup. Don't fucking do that. Because then it comes back to bite you, and that's exactly what happened to Florida. The Oilers took an advantage of the pressure, and Connor McDavid went off.
Yeah,
outright
finally
just
got
went
his
off.
first points.
Yeah, and the crazy thing, too, is the Edmonton Oilers now broke a new NHL record. They're the only team in league history now to record 2 shorthanded goals as the first goal of the game on back-to-back occasions. So they scored the first goal in Game 4. Edmonton scored shorthanded. Game 5, Edmonton scored shorthanded. It's almost like as if, you know, special teams has kind of become the Oilers' bread and butter. And the Panthers just shit the bed. And Bob, of all people, is doing his best, but he's being left out to dry.
Yeah. And you can't do that. And
No.
just to give you an idea, right now, Mets and the Rangers have just kicked off the game. So, right now, nothing new going there. But we'll talk about some baseball later, so just so you
Well,
guys know. But got a lot of stuff on there. But in either case, I mean, my thought is this: Florida's still going to win the series, but if Florida loses, oh my God.
I said Florida in six, but I feel like this is going to come out as one or two things. Either this is going to be the 2012 Los Angeles Kings. They were up 3-0 against the Devils, and the Devils win games 4 and 5, and people think that they were going to reverse sweep the Kings, and LA won the cup at six in Los Angeles. Or this is going to be the 2006 Edmonton Oilers, where the Canes were up 3-1 against the Oilers, and then they force game seven, and they lose. So, which version of the Florida Panthers are we going to see? Are we going to see the team that becomes resilient, shuts their mouth, put their egos aside, and put their backs against the wall like they're going to lose? Or are we going to just see them, choke this series away? Because there's a possibility for that. Both ways could very well happen, but it has to come down to how Edmonton responds. It also comes down to how Florida responds, because the Panthers are right now, or their backs are against the wall. And I think if they were that good to the point where they needed to win this game, this is a good opportunity for them.
Yeah.
They need to shut the crowd down, because if the Oilers win game six, I don't see the Panthers winning the cup at this point.
It's very much a possibility, and especially now that McDavid went off. I mean, he's going to be firing on all cylinders at this point. So you've got to be able to contain him. You got to be able to contain Draisaitl. If you can contain those two, like you did in the first 3 games, then you're fine. If you can't, like with what we saw in that 8-1 blowout, you're screwed.
I agree. You know what I think the defining moment of the series was? Game 2, when Leon Draisaitl lifted his body up and elbowed Sasha Barkov in the jaw. That's what I felt like was the defining moment. That one hit, to me, defied all odds for the Oilers. So now the momentum is shifting in Edmonton's favor. And again, I don't hate either team. I don't care who wins. But just from a hockey fan standpoint, the momentum is shifting to the Oilers' favor just because of these last 2 games. It feels like this, and a lot of Panthers fans are not very happy, and I don't blame them, because you have this team that was playing so well through the majority of the first 3 games, and they shit the bed.
Right. And, you're not going to win games if you do that. So, bottom line, they got to get back on track. If Florida wants to win this series, now is the time you put the foot on the gas and you crush their throat and you basically tell them who the boss is. That's just what you do. You go into Edmonton's house, you win. Straight up.
Exactly. And they've done it. So, and the other thing, too, for Matty Tkachuk, keep your fucking mouth shut.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep your mouth shut. All right? Just go out there, stop talking, shut the fuck up, and go play and win the cup on Friday. That's the best way I can describe this.
Yep. It's a good way to put it. And, of course, if you guys want to jump on, 929-205-6099, or you can join us on YouTube or on Facebook. Of course, we do have the YouTube chat open, so you're welcome to join us. And, of course, this week, Columbus and San Jose are both making some coaching changes. And, of course, the big thing that ended up happening, the Sharks ended up hiring Ryan Warsofsky, and Columbus decides to fire Pascal Vincent after a very short stay.
Mike Wazowski.
Like, I was going to say, if Rob's watching this show right now, I want him to call in, and I want him to join us, because I would love his take since he follows the Sharks.
He was pissed.
I don't blame him.
He was pissed. And listen,
I think coach.
I don't understand San Jose's logic. You had 3 months since mid-April. You fired David Quinn. Okay, cool, whatever. You had 3 months to find a new head coach, and just a week before the draft, you bring in, of all candidates, Ryan Warsofsky, or as I like to call him, Mike Wazowski. They legit just promoted an assistant coach from David Quinn's system.
Why? I mean, look you have Gallant out there, you have Boudreaux out there, you have 2 proven coaches that you could have easily brought in, and you bring in Ryan Warsofsky.
God fucking damn it. They're so shit that the Buffalo Sabres are laughing at their face right now.
Even Hextall would have been better.
God damn, dude.
And that's not saying much.
Oh, yeah, and you want to know something else? This guy played in the NHL over 15 years ago in like the 2011 2012 season.
Good
Like it's
lord.
insane. Nobody picked him up, and he played for the Whitecap Turnhow, the Rio Grande Valley Killer Bees, and the Cape Cod Bluefins, who are all like ECHL affiliates. So this guy has no in-game experience in the NHL. He was undrafted, and he's the current head coach of the San Jose Sharks, and he's 36 years old.
San Jose, what are you thinking? In fact, more than that, Mike Greer, what are you thinking in this hire?
Yeah, and you know what too? His brother is David Warsofsky, who by just some coincidence played for the Bruins, Avalanche, Devils, and the Penguins.
Why?
You know what? I don't even know. I don't even know. So, just to give you an idea about his resume, Warzowski began his coaching career at the Alma Mater League, or in Curry as serving as an assistant coach in the 2011-12 season. He then joined the South Carolina Stingrays in the ECHL in 2013, being named the assistant coach and manager of hockey operations, working with the defense and special teams unit, and he helped the Stingrays have some of their most successful seasons in the ECHL, including a league record 23 consecutive wins with a Kelly Cup in the appearance of the 2014-15 season, and he was then promoted to be the head coach and director of hockey operations in 2016 at the age of 28, making him the youngest active coach in the ECHL and the fifth youngest in the league's history.
Okay, so you're one of the youngest coaches, but still, it's like Earth to Mike Greer. Don't you want proven experience, or do you want an unproven commodity?
The guy is about half of our age, and that is insane. That they basically,
Yeah.
again, you gave the keys to a guy who was an ECHL coach in his 20s.
And it's like, if I'm an NHL veteran, I'm like, fuck you.
Like why? I don't understand the logic
Yeah.
behind San Jose. San
Yeah.
Jose's hire or Warzowski is so bad that it made the rant a few weeks ago about Scott Arniel looking competent. And that's
Well,
not saying a lot either.
yeah. Well, we know one team that ain't going anywhere in the West this year.
Still
The
though, like
perennial basement dweller.
don't the Sharks want to be good?
I would hope so. They have a good fan base. They can be a good team. They have played well before.
Oh my god.
Uh,
Like, if I'm a Sharks fan, I would just want to puke. That's just how bad this is. So you had almost 3 months to get an NHL experienced coach, and you just go with the backup for David Quinn.
yeah, totally stupid.
Seriously, that is just like, oh my god. Are they really trying this whole Sean McVay bullshit where they're saying, oh, young coaches, they're the key to success. I'm like, how is that the key to success? You
Right.
just gave the kid the keys to a kid that has no driving experience with a Lamborghini.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
San Jose is gonna regret that very easily.
Right.
I think at least. I mean, who knows? He might very well turn it to a pleasant surprise. Maybe the Sharks could actually be good next year.
I doubt it, but hey, time will tell.
That's the
When it
only
comes
way
to
we could
that.
do it.
Yeah. But how about Columbus, though, making that move fairly quickly? I mean, their coach had virtually zero time.
Seriously, like you. Here's another team that I don't understand. Why did you wait 3 months when you had all this time to relieve Pascal Vincent from being the head coach? You could have done this on Black Monday or when the season ended.
Exactly.
You could have done that a long time ago, but you chose not to do it. You waited 3 months. Why such a long delay? I don't know.
Me
So
either.
the Blue Jackets are going to be going into the draft next week without a head coach, unless they somehow find one.
Yeah, and that's not a good spot right now because we're only, what, basically 9 days away from the draft?
Someone like that.
Yeah. Which, by the way, actually, next week, we will not be on Wednesday. We will be live for the draft on Friday.
Friday the 28th, and they will also be on the air on the last day, which is July 1st, which is a Monday. So after June 28th and July 1st, we're done for the summer, and we'll be
Yep.
back in September, and we're going to enjoy the rest of the summer.
Yep. And of course, we'll have Road to 32 during the summer, but
Yeah.
keep you entertained for a little bit. But yeah, we're taking our nice little summer break. So it's usually what happens when you do somewhere. We average, I think, like 35, 36 episodes a season or something like that at least. So
Yeah, I mean, we kind of deserve a break at that point.
yeah, yeah. Except for I think season one where we did like 52 episodes or something almost. It was something crazy. Then after that, we're like, yeah, we're taking a hiatus. So,
I remember we did that during the COVID pandemic where we were just trying to figure out like an identity at that time where we
yeah,
just do like sports, politics, business, everything in there until we
random
found something
stuff,
that clicked.
movies, entertainment. So
We were just trying to do something. And that was like
yeah,
when Vinny was in the first episode. I think Sean O'Malley was in the first episode, if I
yeah,
remember correctly.
yeah.
So there
He
was,
was.
and that's crazy to think we've been doing the show now for 4 years, and yet this is
I
what we've
know.
come down to.
Yeah, but when you find something that works, you go with it. And that was actually we were doing 2 shows a week for a while. So we were definitely doing a little bit more, but we figured we finally settled on the Wednesday, and that's what we've stuck with. So that's how it's kind of worked out, which is not a bad thing. So, but definitely we'll have some fun changes for next season, and we're gonna do some different things too. So of course we'll have you guys join us for that. But today, if Gary Bettman thinks that the trade deadline is not around, guess what? We had some movement in the league today, and I can tell you one thing: Rob's a happy guy for the Devils because they totally fucked Calgary.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we were not originally planning on talking about this, but because it happened so fast today, we figured throw it in there. So the NHL has decided to say, "Oh, we still have the Stanley Cup going on. Let's just throw in some fucking trades while you're at it."
Yeah,
So
and it
we're
was
gonna
four
go
of
through.
them.
Well, actually three. I
Three.
went back and counted. So there are three trades we're gonna talk about. So we're gonna do each one all in order. So here we go. So the first one is the big one that I think most people have been trying to speculate for a while, and we talked about this very briefly until it actually became a reality. Was, and I mentioned it, was the talk was the Devils were the front runners to get Jacob Markstrom
Mm-hmm.
last week, and we both agreed and said, "Yeah, sure, we'll figure it out." And then, sure enough, 1 week later,
It
to the date,
actually happens.
and the trade happens. So Jacob Markstrom is on his way to the New Jersey Devils. So Jacob Markstrom has been traded to the New Jersey Devils. The Calgary Flames, in exchange, are getting a 2025 first round pick, which is top 10 protected, and defenseman Kevin Ball. And the Devils the Devils are also retaining 30% of the salary.
Oh my god. I remember when you were filling me in on this earlier because I didn't really know a whole ton about this whole deal, and at first I'm like, wait a minute, okay, Jersey wins out, but then when you filled me in on it, I'm like, wait a minute, Jersey, what are you thinking? Because not only do you give up a top D man, but now you have a first round pick, top 10 protected, which is even worse, going to Calgary. So Calgary, good job on this one. You totally fleeced the Devils, and I can bet you Rob is probably like wanting to break things today after hearing this trade.
No, he was pretty ecstatic about it. I mean, okay, here's how I feel. I strongly believe that Calgary won this deal by a mile. It's not even close. Because first of all, New Jersey just gave away a free first round pick,
Mm-hmm.
and they gave away a top six defenseman for a 35-year-old goaltender.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Were the Devils that desperate for a goalie? Were they
yeah,
that desperate?
seriously. I'm like, Jersey, you have the draft. You've got your farm system. You don't have to get a 35-year-old goalie here. I mean,
And the
I
only thing
understand if
is,
you want a veteran presence, but you don't need Markstrom.
oh, don't worry, Tom. The Devils are going into the season next year with two 30 plus year old goalies. You have Jacob Markstrom, who's probably going to be the netminder number one,
Right.
and
And
then
then
Jake
Vanacek.
Allen as number two.
Wait. Oh, Jake Allen, I mean. Yeah.
What the fuck are the Devils doing?
I
So
don't know.
I seriously do not understand the Devils' logic here. So you're basically saying it's perfectly okay to be fucking mediocre. So you had three goalies nearly 2 years ago at this point, and yet here you are making a trade with a team that you were supposed to make a deal with back in March, and it doesn't go through because of some dilemma of details that happened saying, oh, Marshall only wanted to waive his no trade clause to go to the Devils, and that was the only team that was willing to give him a job. And yet, there he goes. He's going to Jersey. Everything worked out in the end. So There you
Good
have
luck.
it. Jacob Markstrom is a New Jersey Devil.
Good luck, Jersey. You're gonna need it. Well, at least Lindy Ruff won't have to deal with it anymore, so that's a plus. You won't have to deal with that shit show. But then we have deal number 2 that came up today.
Oh my God. We talked about this briefly before the show, and I remember telling you this, and I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ, what's
Right.
going on here? It makes too much sense at this point. So the whole cap friendly thing we talked about last week
Yeah.
with the Washington Capitals, did they just buy cap friendly just so that they could fuck with the cap? That's what I'm trying to
Probably.
figure out.
Probably, and it wouldn't surprise me because they're going to shut Cap Friendly down, which has actually been a really nice tool for us here.
Yeah. So the Washington Capitals have not only bitch slapped the capfriendly.com subscribers in the face
Mm-hmm.
by basically saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna just buy this website off of you and you'll never see it again." So not only do you do that, you also torture your fan base by trading for Pierre-Luc Dubois.
What and the fuck are you thinking with that deal?
Oh, and what did the Kings get in return for him? Darcy Kemper. Okay,
Oh,
so
God.
you basically traded two of the worst contracts by position in the
Mm-hmm.
league. So LA gets a backup goalie who was on the team a few years ago, and Pierre-Luc Dubois is making $8.5 million for
Right.
being a whiny bitch. And he just signed that long-term deal last summer with the Kings, and he's gone.
Yeah. And this is how many teams for him now? Team 4?
This is team number 4 because he was drafted by Columbus. He was traded to Winnipeg for Patrick Laine a few years ago. Last summer, he threw a bitch fit saying, "I don't want to be in Columbus."
Right.
He gets traded to Los Angeles. No, I'm sorry, I don't want to. Not Columbus. He wanted to be traded out of Winnipeg. He didn't want to be in Winnipeg, and then he goes to Los Angeles. The Jets get all these assets, and then now he's gone. He didn't even request a trade.
What does that tell you?
It tells me everything. It tells me
Exactly.
that Pierre-Luc Dubois is, for multiple reasons, he's he's literally not a team player. That's number one,
Mm-hmm.
and he's an absolute cancer in the locker room. So for the Caps to commit the ultimate sin, to take on this contract, and then get rid of Darcy Kemper in the process,
Yep.
this trade to me makes no sense.
Right.
It makes no sense. The only benefit for the Kings is they don't have to eat up $8.5 million anymore.
Right, exactly, and they can use it however they choose at this point. So it's a good deal on the Kings side of things, but Washington, oh my God.
What are you doing? First you buy cap friendly, you piss off everybody, then you piss off your own fan base by using that data to get Pierre
Mm-hmm.
fucking Luc Dubois.
Yeah, he ain't gonna do anything there. So,
Oh my God.
and then of course deal number 3.
Yep, the one that we got to talk about now is this one happened in the afternoon. And it was the Dallas Stars and the San Jose Sharks. We talked about the Sharks before, but we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about them again. So the San Jose Sharks acquired defenseman Ty Deladera, or Deladrea, excuse me, Ty Deladrea from the Dallas Stars in exchange for a 2025 fourth round pick, which the pick originally belonged to the Winnipeg Jets.
Okay.
I, I mean, I understand where this is coming from,
Mm-hmm.
but Dallas is going to be down two defensemen already
Right.
because you just got rid of Delandrea, and then
Mm-hmm.
Chris Tanev's a UFA, unless you plan to resign him, which
Right.
I don't really know if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, it's going to depend on cap room, and I mean Tanev has been rumored to go some other places.
I agree. I mean, it's just I like the deal from San Jose's end. Dallas got a nice asset for him, so now they can use it in a trade for maybe another defenseman. I really don't know what Dallas's plan is. Maybe they felt like, okay, we're good enough to make it to the cup, but we need to bolster. So that's what I think the motive is they trade Delandrea, and then he's gone, and maybe they use the pick either this year or next year to get another top four defenseman. It's very possible.
Right.
So I don't know what anything is at this point. All we do know is that the league went through all kinds of fuck ups today as far as the trade ordeal gone. It just became like 2016 all over again, if you remember that, where there was one trade here, which was Subban for Shea Weber. Then it was Taylor Hall to the Devils, and then Steven Stamkos signed his previous extension
Right.
at that time in 2016. So that was like the weirdest 24 hours in NHL history. But this one is just like what is going on today.
Yeah, I mean, it's like getting to that point, and watch, we're gonna see more stuff as we get closer to the draft next week. So I'm thinking as we do our draft special, we're gonna have some crazy things to talk about in terms of some different deals and different things coming on.
Well, it's funny you said that because I did get a tip from earlier today, and there's a rumor floating around that the Senators and the Flyers are working on a trade.
Be interesting to see how things go.
Yep. And the other one too, I also got a tip on. This might surprise you. Is the Seattle Kraken are interested in Patrick Laine?
I could see him being a potential good fit there. I could see that. The only thing is, can Disco Dan actually put three lines together and actually have success with it? Because, of course, as he was here in Buffalo, he couldn't do jack shit with any of the lines that he had, despite having some really good players.
Absolutely. But you know what? At the end of the day, it all comes down to, wheeling and dealing. It all comes down to what exactly is Ottawa interested in.
Yeah.
Because the Senators, like the Sabres, they got to get their ass moving because they've already been over a half a decade since they went to the Cup Finals. I mean, not the Cup Finals, the Conference Finals. Excuse me.
Right.
And 2017, and then or 2018, whatever it was. So yeah, 2017 they lost to Pittsburgh, and then since then they've just been shit. And then Eugene Melnick dies, and then there are new owners coming in, and then it's just been an incoherent mess in Ottawa. So for them, I feel like there's no identity in Ottawa, and there's a possibility they might lose Brady Tkachuk in a trade. We really don't know what's going to happen yet. So the Senators better do something big here if you're talking to the Flyers.
Yeah, 100% agree. And then we have just two other last things that we want to talk about before we hit the break here. But, of course, this is no surprise. The sale of the Arizona Coyotes to SEG is now officially complete. So now it is officially the Utah Hockey Club on paper. And basically from there, what they're going to do, they're going to get started, and they'll be at the draft. So, of course, there is no team name officially for them yet. But we'll see what happens in terms of that contest to pick the name.
Yeah, and the next phase for the name votes is actually tomorrow on June 20th. So the next phase will come out tomorrow, and I think if it's going to get down to the point where we're going to see three names on there that are going to be taken out, and I think I don't know for sure, two names might get taken out or three. We really don't know yet, but we'll find out the end result of the team name at that point. But Utah's jerseys have been availed to the public, and it's pretty generic. We kind of just expected it. So to kind of give you an idea, if you know the Winnipeg Ice,
Yep.
the EC the WHL team,
Mm-hmm.
so it looks exactly like that without the big Yeti Sasquatch logo on it.
Gotcha.
But going across, it says Utah. It looks exactly like the Rangers. But again, think of it like this: the jerseys themselves are going to be collector's items by the end of 2025. Really think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are going to be huge gets for a
Yeah.
lot of collectors.
And honestly, I might actually even pick one up just to collect it.
I agree. I'm thinking about that too. But it also comes down to what the new Utah name looks like and what
Right.
their logo design is, because that's the next phase that's going to be coming out. Which, speaking of which, I love finding out about jersey details. And there actually is one other piece that we want to talk about real
Mm-hmm.
quick. So there were two rumors going on, according to Icethetics.com, that the LA Kings and the Anaheim Ducks are both going through a rebrand. And normally this doesn't happen because usually when companies come in to take over as the new jersey moderator, I
Mm-hmm.
remember this happened with Reebok when they became RBKH like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember that jerseys, they didn't nobody had alternates or anything like that, but there
Mm-hmm.
were rebrands. So that to them was just like, all right, cool, whatever. Adidas did that too. Adidas, everybody's jerseys were the same except Vegas at the time because Vegas was an expansion team. So nobody really had any real rebranding again except for the Golden Knights. But we're talking about something completely different here. And that is the Kings and the Ducks are both going to a rebound. And
Mm-hmm.
the Kings are supposedly going back to the Wayne Gretzky era jerseys. Remember that jersey?
Yep, I do.
Yep. So the details from Aesthetics.com from Chris Smith and all those guys is he said that it's going to be that jersey design with the infamous Kings banner, or whatever that is,
Mm-hmm.
and the crown is going to be a different shape. So it's going to be a completely different logo at that point. So they're getting rid of the shield, whatever that is, and then they're going to bring back the Gretzky era logo. But the one that I'm the most looking forward to
Mm-hmm.
is the Mighty Ducks. Oh my fucking
Yes, the
lord.
original '93 logo.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm so excited, dude. So,
That's a good one.
absolutely. So, for those of you who don't know, the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim are most definitely coming back. That is going to be the new primary logo for the Ducks moving forward. And people have been bitching for years to get rid of the duck foot. And they're just like, it's so outdated, it's
Yep,
bad, it's whatever.
it was
And then
outdated
all
when
of a
they
sudden,
first launched it.
well, I mean, how can you blame them? I mean, the Mighty Ducks movie was such a hit that they might as well bring it
Mm-hmm.
into the real world, and that's exactly what happened.
Right.
And they had an expansion team and all that jazz, and it worked out well. And then Disney bought the rights for the movie, and then it became a hit, and then turned it into the real thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then the Samuelis bought the Ducks, and they just said, we don't like the eggplant and the jade color, so we don't want to use that anymore. So they obviously get rid of that. But I think from after years and years and years of just cock teasing their fan base with the Mighty Ducks logo. It was on their 30th anniversary. It was on their 25th anniversary. It was
Mm-hmm.
on their alternate jersey for like 10 years ago. And it was orange, by the way.
Yeah.
So the so apparently just and there was actually a leaked image about this too. I don't know if you've seen it, but people are debating it's AI, but I think it's real. So what it is that the Ducks jersey, the home jersey specifically,
Mm-hmm.
and the pants is the gloves, the helmet, the jersey, of course, the pants and the socks. All of that is going to be a dark orange jersey.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at possibly a pumpkin on the ice or like a Halloween decoration on the ice. And then, of course, the Mighty Ducks logo is going to come back. The sticks on the famous Ducks logo is going to be orange, not yellow. And of course, in the teaser trailer that the Ducks put out recently on Monday is a big orange eye with some gold shadowing on it, which is ridiculously awesome. I cannot wait to see what the full thing looks like. And we're probably going to get an idea of it.
What we're going to do is we're going to take a short break in the stream. Actually, we did freeze on the graphics side again, so I was going to say it's your call, man. Do you just want to keep plowing through it, or do you want to restart and do part two of the stream?
Totally. I would just probably keep going at this point.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah,
I'm
picking
just
up.
really excited about the Mighty Ducks coming back, man. Like that's a whole childhood on its own.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I remember seeing both of those when I was younger, and I mean, fun movies to see, and of course, it's nice to see them going back to what they were. So
Oh, I
yeah,
actually, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this part, and I
yeah.
just
What's
found it
up?
on my phone. Is as the Ducks rebrand, there is drawing closer and closer. Obviously, the team has taken a provocative measure, which includes it for applying the trademark Orange Country.
Ooh,
So,
okay.
like Orange County, California, because
Yeah,
that's where they are in Anaheim. So, my other thing is, do you think because of that trademark rumor, do you think that they're gonna go with the Anaheim Ducks, or do you think they're gonna go back to the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim? What do you think?
I'd love to see them go back to the Mighty Ducks.
I mean, it's inevitable. That's what they're aiming for. Is the Mighty Ducks is going to be coming back
Yeah,
full time
yeah. I hope they do it. I really do.
because that Orange Country trademark is just awesome. I mean, how can you not like that, honestly?
Yeah, exactly. So it'll definitely be fun. And then what we'll do since graphics locked up again. Hey, we're sorry about that, but show will go on. So of course, right now, just a real time baseball check here. The Texas Rangers are up on the Mets 1-0.
Yep, Wyatt Langfield just scored the first run of the game for the Rangers.
Yep. But of course, one of the biggest things that came out actually late last night, and this was breaking news, and it's unfortunate, but one of the greatest of all time in Major League Baseball has passed away. Willie Mays at the age of 93. Basically, right behind Babe Ruth is one of the all-time greats.
Absolutely. I mean, the guy is an absolute legend in all of baseball. Like, this would be the equivalent of like Wayne Gretzky passing away or
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan passing away. That's the level Willie Mays has made an impact on. And he was on the Mets within like the last 2 years of his career. And I
Yeah,
think I want to be sure I'm right about this. I think he was on the 1969 New York Mets World Series team. I could be wrong about that.
he might have been because I remember he went out west for a while, and then he came back for the last 2 years.
Yeah, he played for the Giants, and then
Yeah,
I think he played for the Brooklyn Dodgers too at this
yeah,
time.
and he admitted going out west was a career screw up on his part.
I mean, for him, I think it's not like he asked for it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he did. I don't know, but Willie Mays is a pioneer in all of baseball, and he's going to be truly missed. He's already in the Hall of Fame, so that's something that a lot of baseball fans will cherish on forever. Is the fact that Willie Mays is forever immortalized in like the greatest names in baseball.
Yep, for sure. So, I mean, that's definitely one of the things we wanted to get that shout out there and just basically let everybody know that that ended up happening. But another story that we have, and of course, we're live on YouTube right now, so if you want to give us a shout, 929-205-6099, we'll get you on the air. Of course, the Zoom link is on our Facebook as well. And if you want to listen to past episodes from this season, go to Spotify. We are all up to date. All the episodes that we've had from the season are on there. So, of course, yeah, take us wherever you want to go. Hell, we know some people on Long Island Railroad listen, as we got to meet earlier this year, so or this past summer. But it's good stuff. But now Major League Baseball is coming out with a proposal, and this is one of those things where they want to have playoff games played in neutral sites. And my first question is, why on earth would Major League Baseball even be entertaining this? This is seriously. I understand the whole COVID thing where you had to have a neutral site, but we're way past that. It's like play where the two teams play. Why on earth would you do a neutral site? It is like one of the stupidest things I've heard in God knows how long.
I mean, I don't agree with it. And this is why Rob Manfred is one of the worst commissioners in the Major Four.
Yeah, we all
Because
thought Bud Selig sucked. Manfred's even worse.
oh yeah, and then he's gonna step down in 5 years as the commissioner, and whoever takes his place, that guy's probably gonna be just as worse. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Rob Manfred is I don't know what he's doing. I mean, he's ruined baseball so much at that point where it's almost unwatchable to the point like
Mm-hmm.
the whole pitcher clock thing, like to make it faster with games, and then the whole woke bullshit with the Indians and then changing it to the
Yeah,
Guardians, and now you want to make it a neutral site like it's football. It works in the NFL
right.
because
You do it one game a year.
yeah, it's one game in a neutral site, and that's where you promote the Super Bowl. That's where it takes place. But in the World Series, let alone never mind the playoffs, like that, I don't know what is up with this guy. Like,
Yeah,
what are you trying to say? Are you saying that that fans are not allowed to see their own team play in the playoffs at
right,
home? We're
right.
still past the whole COVID bullshit.
Exactly. Are you saying, oh, fans are not allowed to give their home team home field advantage with the crowd? I mean, stupid.
Well, the other thing too I've heard is that one of the destinations is, according to Manfred, is Las Vegas is a possibility to host the World Series. I'm like, why is this even a topic? Why is it
Right.
that Manfred is entertaining the idea of even forcing teams that have been playing on home field all season long, for specifically the ones that made the playoffs, play in a neutral site?
Right. It makes zero sense. Like, seriously, you have the World Series. It's been tradition that you have your home and away team and you play games at each site. Why
Right.
on earth, for over 100 something years, would you now get away from that tradition?
It doesn't make any sense. Like
No,
again,
it
it
doesn't.
works in the NFL with the Super Bowl, but you're talking about 162 games of the regular season, plus another how many in the playoffs.
Right.
So
You
that right
figure
there,
at least like anywhere between like depending on how the team's doing. I mean, you have like as much as 28 games, so
yeah, in Major League Baseball, I will tell you right now, they will lose a lot of money and fans if Rob Manfred even attempts or even commits the idea about this whole bubble bullshit. Like,
right.
okay, the World Series, whatever. But it should really be the team that's represented. Because back in the day, Tom, I know you're
Mhm.
new into the whole baseball thing, but back in the day during the All-Star game, like 15 years ago,
Mhm.
the All-Star game used to matter because the team that won either the American League or the National League in the All-Star game, they would compete for who would have home field advantage in the
Exactly.
World Series.
Right. And now it's like it's not even like anything, but at the same time it's like back then you wanted to win that All-Star game at all costs, and it didn't matter how you won it just as long as you won it.
Exactly. But now it's completely ruined. The only thing worth a
Right.
fucking damn about the All-Star game is the goddamn home run derby.
Right. I
Like
mean, Manfred, what the fuck are you doing with baseball? Seriously.
he's going to destroy this baseball. You know, he's going to destroy baseball by 2030. I guarantee you.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be this one big agenda before he resigns as the commissioner. It's like Jesus Christmas. Like, could you at least be more have morality with the fans? Like,
Yeah,
seriously,
seriously.
that's a joke. I'm sorry, that is a joke.
Yeah, it's one of Manfred's many stupid decisions he made since he ended up taking over.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but at least Angel Hernandez ain't coming back, so thank God for that because he was one of the absolute worst umpires besides Joe West.
Oh, and you want to know something too? That's even more pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
Is Rob Manfred also made another statement about the whole neutral site thing. He said starting next week, all AAA games will use the automated ball strike challenge system that instead of the full ABS, and that was according to a memo that was issued by Major League Baseball.
Why can we not follow tradition?
No, he does not get it.
Right.
Stop touching it.
I mean, yeah, there are some umpires that absolutely suck ass. I mean, but that's a part of what baseball has always been. You know, certain umpires are going to give you certain strike zones. You have to adjust to it. It's how it works. I mean, to have like an AI based computer like tell you, "Oh, hey, this is a ball. Oh, hey, this is a strike." And then it's like, watch, you're going to have a probability of certain calls being outside of that anyways. And what are you going to do? Overturn a computer? I mean, come on.
I mean, it's impossible at this point. What, like the
Right.
amount of technology that we're so used to today is insane with how much is being in use.
Yeah.
Like, it just from a standpoint, like it's almost getting to a point where you don't even need an umpire. You don't
Mm-hmm.
need, players in general, or even in
Right.
Hollywood, you don't even need actors anymore because
Yeah.
AI is playing a big part of it. So,
Yeah.
like,
Hell,
why do you want
even
to take that
even when I
away
had
in
to go
base?
online for like something last week and I ended up having to reach out to customer service, it was AI. I was
It's
talking to
insane.
a computer.
I don't trust AI just in general
Yeah.
speaking, but in terms of like, I'm more of a untraditional guy. I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather have a human being that I can talk to rather than yelling at a computer to tell me like what's a strike, what's a foul,
Right.
what's a home run, especially in the triple A league. Like that's insane to me. That again, Manfred is not only trying to do the whole neutral site thing, but he's trying to also make AI the competent, culprit for strikeouts and rules in baseball.
Right. And I'm sorry, AI is not there yet. And
No,
on
it's not.
top of it, you're still going to need a human umpire in the game anyways.
Exactly. So it almost kind of defeats the purpose.
Right. I totally do not get that.
It's a joke.
Yeah. It seriously is. It seriously is. But that being said, I mean, got some interesting things coming up. So one of the things, of course, is we've been watching the Mets as of late. Well, of course, the Grimace has been around, and the Mets have popped off 7 straight, including beating the World Series champs. Except for getting
It's
their
the
ass handed to
funny
them 1-0 by the Rangers right now.
the the fact that
I know it's only in the bottom of the third, so I mean it ain't too bad yet.
no, but the funny thing about the whole grimace thing is just hysterical to me because apparently this was a thing that came out that the New York Mets were having this big ordeal with Grimace for his birthday because I thought the Grimace shake wasn't enough.
Hmm.
They had Grimace through the opening pitch in last Wednesday's game against the Marlins, and I'm just sitting there
Oh
thinking,
man.
what the hell is he doing there? And I'm just minding my own business, whatever. But never in a million years did I think that. Grimace, like fuck Mr. Matt, bring fucking Grimace out there. He'll be the one to be the rallying cry.
Right.
Like fuck Mr. Matt in general.
Yeah. Yeah, the good old 1980s McDonald's Grimace.
Yep. So
Jesus.
apparently the Mets coordinator is a big McDee's fan or just a Grimace fan in general, and he said he and the team has been supportive of continuing to leverage the intention, and it was originally intended to be just a one-time thing with Grimace, and Grimace has turned a pitch from the opening game against the Marlins last week into a worldwide phenomenon to where kids of all people are going to be watching the Mets now because of a fucking McDonald's character. Like, god damn it.
Oh man.
And there's also a thing that Steve Cohen is going around buying stock of McDonald's, like with Bitcoin, just to promote Grimace.
but yet Steve Cohen can't put together a half decent roster. So,
Okay, so you can't put a half-ass roster out on the field, but you're willing to promote Grimace at City Field.
yeah, it's like Cohen. Where's your priorities here?
God damn it.
Although I will say he did do some nice upgrades to City Field, which I'll be seeing again next month. But I mean, he kind of put together a decent roster, Cohen.
It's hilarious that they actually are winning games. I think that at this point, before what you just said, the Mets have now won 7 games in a row, and 2 against the Texas Rangers, both
Yeah,
yesterday and on Monday before this recording. And the Mets have just been on fire since last week's episode, and it's 7 days into the episode, and that's the amount of games the Mets have won since then. And again, God damn it, Grimace is right there, and not to mention too, the Mets are only 3.5 games out of the wild card spot.
right. Which is crazy because I mean, just a week ago that wasn't even a possibility.
Yep, and they're competing with the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Nationals
Yeah,
for that last wild card spot.
yeah, and they smoked the Padres. So
Yeah, they swept the Padres, and I think they beat the Marlins. They swept them too.
yeah,
So now it's just become
they're
this worldwide
actually
phenomenon. It's
yeah.
insane.
Actually, you know what? It's very interesting right now because they are showing like the current standings on TV right now. So basically, the Braves are 5.5 games up, but the Mets are only a half game back.
Well, all they have to do is just keep fighting. Again,
Yeah.
I think the more they promote Grimace, as dumb as I think it is, and as funny as hell as I think it is, if it works, it works. I remember
Hmm.
when the Angels in 2002 won the World Series, they had a rally monkey. You ever hear about that story?
I think I did, but go ahead and refresh everybody on that.
So the LA before the purchase from Artie Moreno, the movie Angels in the Outfield came out. That was when the Angels were like stacking up on wins and everything. But I think when they won the World Series in 2002 over the San Francisco Giants, the Angels had something what was called a rally monkey. So I don't know where the monkey exactly came from. I think it may have came from the Anaheim Zoo or something. But it was a monkey that was brought into every playoff home game for the Angels, and because of the rally monkey, which is considered their good luck charm at this point, same with like Grimace in this case, um, the monkey was there to rally up the troops and get the fans fired up, and
Right.
he would just be on the screen and he would just saying "Go Angels," whatever, and the Angels won the World Series.
Yeah. I mean, hell, if we look at hockey, look at what Philly did when they brought out Gritty.
Yeah, or with the Blues in 2019 when they won the Cup, they played the song "Gloria."
Yeah, and then they retired it after they won the cup. So
So maybe the Mets, if I think at this point again, if they keep promoting Grimace, as stupid as I think it is, um, if you promote the guy, then chances are you're gonna get more fans, and they're probably gonna win more games.
right. Yeah. So it'll be fun to see what goes on with that. But at least they're playing some decent ball right now, so that's a big plus. Although it was funny because actually I had off today and I was on YouTube for a little bit, and then of course one of the things that popped up in the feed were angry pitchers, and basically what happened is I remember when we were at the Mets game or the second Mets game last year when Shohei Ohtani was here back with the Angels at the time, and then of course we saw Pete Alonso take a pitch to the head, and then of course a bench clearing brawl. So
Yeah, I think it was with Chase Silseth and something like that, and there was a
yeah,
pitch that got hit and it hit him in the head, and the whole bench just went like crazy at
yeah,
that time. But it didn't change the fact the Mets still suck at that point. But
yeah, they still blew it.
I feel like the Mets are just that team that doesn't know what it wants to be. It just feels that way. You know what I mean? Like they have
Yeah,
a mediocre pitching core. Pete Alonso is pending to be a UFA, and he might get traded in late
right.
July
It
around
wouldn't
the time we go
surprise
to
me if he
Philly.
does.
Well, I don't even know where he's going to go. I've heard rumors about the Cubs. I've heard rumors about the Rangers, even. Hell,
Hmm.
I've even heard rumors about the Pirates, of all places,
Right.
that Pete Alonso might go to. We really don't know. But if there's a player that really stood out from the crowd, it's JD Martinez. JD
Hmm.
Martinez has really stood out from the crowd from that.
Yeah.
So, and he was a 1 year wonder for the contract that he was given. He's always been a stud, but it's just crazy that he actually had a walk off home run against the Marlins, and that was the first game of the whole Grimace bullshit.
Hmm. Very true. And then, you know what? We've got about 10 minutes left. Let's end on some football. So, of course, anyone wants to still call in, get some last comments in, 92920560099. I think our friend Brad is hard at work because I haven't seen anything from him tonight. But if he is watching, feel free to give us a shout. But the good old NFL. Aaron Rodgers is being a prima donna again. It makes me wonder. It's like, did he get his ayahuasca fixed today, or did he not?
Well, it's not just an Aaron Rodgers issue anymore. It's a whole New York Jets problem because there's more information coming out about the Jets. And one more thing before we get to Aaron Rodgers
Mm-hmm.
is the Bengals have announced on Monday that T. Higgins have just signed a 1 year extension and he'll be on the Bengals. He'll be with them in training camp through the rest of the season and he's a UFA following, spring. So
Well,
that's the best that the Bengals going to improvise on.
enjoy your
So
last year with T. Higgins, since he.
yeah, they're fucked after this year.
Yeah.
But so yeah, regarding to what Tom said, Aaron Rodgers is rumored to be away on his ayahuasca retreat, or what we call it, the darkness retreat, when he was, screwing with everyone's heads about the whole, oh, is he gonna play? Is he not gonna play? Is he gonna retire? Oh, he's gonna go to the Jets or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like you and me both said that he was gonna go to the Jets last season.
Yeah. And of course, it's like that Jim Carrey movie. It's like, alrighty then. That little like thing.
Yeah. So Mr. Rogers, of all people, is rumored to be away on his ayahuasca retreat instead of attending mandatory training camp. And the funny, ironic thing about Aaron Rodgers
Mm-hmm.
is he said, quote, he needs to get rid of the outside distractions. If you want to be a winning organization, the bullshit that has nothing to do with winning needs to get out of the building. And yet, not only is he a massive hypocrite, he was absent from mandatory camp on Monday. He was also spending the majority of his time in Costa Rica in March.
Oh Jesus. So basically, if you're looking at it from Aaron Rodgers' point of view, it's kind of like, hi everybody. So this is exactly what is going to happen. I have to go away on my ayahuasca retreat because I need to get rid of the outside distractions in my life. And then, of course, I need to get laid with some women. I need to get some nice highs off of some natural herbs, and I also need to bond with nature again before I go back and know I'm going to take another beating on the field, because that is how I am, because I'm an old as fuck 40-something-year-old who surprisingly had like some type of medical science with my ACL and somehow wanted to try and come back, but of course I can't do that because the science is not there. So of course let's take some more of the ayahuasca so we can stay nice and high and basically be all nice and happy. What the fuck are you thinking? I'm like trying to be like I'm trying to be like college professor at thought.
Oh my God, Aaron Rodgers is just obnoxious.
Oh, how was that for improvising?
Oh, that's fucking great.
Oh, Racket, that's our number one moment of the season.
Oh my God.
How did I pull off a professor voice like that? Oh, jeez.
That fucking voice killed it. Oh, I gotta give you a high five for that.
Oh, God, that was good. That was just like spur of the moment. That has to be like one of my like three greatest things of all time besides the unibrow.
Oh my God, I'm crying.
I seriously think I sounded like Aaron Rodgers on that too.
You did. You did. Oh, you want to see something that's even more pathetic?
Uh-huh.
Is there's two more things I want to talk about real quick.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence got a handsome deal for 5 years at $275 million.
Oh God.
God damn, dude.
And now everyone's saying Josh Allen should redo his deal because now he's the most underpaid out of any QB.
No, don't, dude.
Don't
Make
do
it
it.
better, dude.
Yeah, leave
Keep it that way. I mean, he's gonna get paid in 2 years. So,
yeah, exactly.
but you know what's even crazier too is the NFL owners are discussing a potential separate salary cap for just quarterbacks due to how crazy the market has gotten, according to multiple outlets in the NFL. And it would completely, in my opinion, this would completely change the landscape of the sport forever.
Well, yeah, it would. I mean, you have two separate salary caps. I mean, like,
Like, I don't understand.
I don't get it.
Because for one, I don't like that idea only because if you're banking in on one position, that means you're going to have to make a salary cap for running backs, wide receivers,
Hmm.
tight ends, etc.
Oh yeah,
That's not fair to
everything
everybody
else
else.
is going to want their own, and it's like you don't manage it that way.
Yeah, as crazy as I think this is, it's like you can't do that. I'm sorry, you just cannot do that. Oh, wait a minute, and we have a tie game in Texas.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, fucking Grimace.
I actually have it on my other screen in the background here too. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
good
think.
old Heaney gives one up.
Yep, and the Mets have no outs so far.
There you
So
go.
Starling Marte just hit the bat, and then Brandon Nimmo went downfield, and
Yep.
that's how it came out to be.
Yep.
But there
Our
actually is
guy.
one more thing I want to talk
Hmm.
about with the Jets,
Okay.
and and it has nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers because we already talked about him. God knows how many times.
And we freaking roasted him.
Yeah. So it's not only Aaron Rodgers, it's
Hmm.
also Hassan Reddick. We
Oh
talked about
God.
him briefly.
Yeah, we've talked about him a few times on the show before.
Yeah. So it has gone to a point now where Hassan Reddick, according to Sports Illustrated now, Hassan Reddick allegedly lied to the New York Jets. And before he was traded to the team, he quote gave his word that no matter what would happen, he would attend the offseason camp. So basically, he said, no matter who trades for me, I'm going to minicamp. And then ESPN then notes that he noticed that Bryce Huff, who's now on the Eagles, and John Franklin Myers, who's now on the Broncos, were no longer with the team. So he had leverage. So basically, the story is Hassan Reddick lied to the Jets by basically saying that he was going to be at mandatory minicamp
Hmm.
with or without a contract. And
Right.
he's lying. He's outright lying.
Yeah.
We talked about him, and yet now the story's coming out saying that he outright lied about the idea that he was going to come practice with the Jets.
Hmm.
He's a bigger issue than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. And it ain't gonna be long before he's gone. But we'll see
You
what
know what?
happens there.
You know what? The Eagles, to me, dodged a huge bullet
Yes, they
with
did.
Reddick. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a good ass linebacker, but is it really worth the headache?
No, it's definitely not.
Well, that's apparently something the Jets are going to have to deal with. But then again, this is the Jets that we're talking about here.
Yeah, good point.
I don't expect anything different from them at all this year. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I really don't
I don't
know.
get it.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Was it last year or this year that the Jets were picked to go on Hard Knocks? Do you know?
I want to say I thought it was last year.
Yeah, I could have sworn that too. Because there was a thing that came out recently, and the reason why I brought this up is
Hmm.
because recently it was announced that HBO is going to be producing another Hard Knock series. They had one for the Giants for the offseason. They have another one, I think, for the Lions coming
Yeah,
up
it is
in
the Lions.
yeah, the Lions this year. And then there was another team I think that's getting one midway through the season. I know the Dolphins did it last year. I'm
Hmm.
not sure who's going to get it this year. At the midway point in throughout the beginning of the year or middle of the season. But towards the end of the year, it was just announced that it's not going to be a specific team this year.
Hmm.
It's going to be the entire AFC North. So the
Right.
Steelers, the Ravens, the Browns, and the Bengals are all going to be on Hard Knocks this year.
Yeah, and then apparently the offseason it's the New York Giants, and they're also going to focus on Chicago Bears.
The Chicago Bears, that's the other team. Now, when you say Chicago, are you talking about during training camp or during the season?
It does not mention the off season, so I think the Chicago Bears are the in season team. Giants are off season, and then in season's the AFC North.
Okay, were the Lions mentioned at that one point?
Looks like the actually Lions were in 2022 along with the Cardinals, and
Yep.
then 2023 was the Jets and the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. Oh, we actually have some breaking news. I
Okay.
I know we're all over the place. We actually do have some breaking news, and it's being said by Larry Brooks of the New York Post. It said that Barkley Goodrow at 2 p.m. around the time the Sharks traded for Ty Dellandrea, the
Hmm.
San Jose Sharks made a waiver claim for Barkley Goodrow, who played for the Sharks a few years ago. Do you remember that?
Ooh, yes I do.
But there's a twist to this story. So not only did the Sharks claim Barkley Goodrow is quote that this is widespread belief that Barkley Goodrow had the San Jose Sharks on his 15-team no trade list that general manager Chris Drury got around by placing him on waivers, where then San Jose claimed him. And they've
Oh,
been told that by several folks that Goodrow is not happy about what went down this week. That is fucking hilarious.
yeah.
So
So he doesn't want to go back to the dumpster fire known as San Jose, but yet he ends up getting waived and gets to go back to the dumpster fire known as San Jose.
So Chris Drury found a loophole in this whole ordeal. So basically,
Interesting.
he said because his contract is so large, I can't trade it. So the other alternative would be to put him on waivers. And when you make a waiver claim in the
Mm-hmm.
NHL, you have to let the team know in advance, saying, "Hey, we're going to put in a waiver claim for a player."
Right.
And that's what the Sharks did. The Sharks let the Rangers know that they were going to claim Barkley Goodrow.
Yeah.
And then
And Drew's
now
okay. Take him.
yeah, and now all this comes out, and he's pissed. The fans are happy he's back, but he's
Yeah.
not happy.
As good old Mr. Burns on The Simpsons would say, excellent for
Basically.
San Jose.
Oh my god! So not only do you
Oh
hire
man.
a 36-year-old inexperienced head coach, but you also fuck up the whole Barkley Goodrow thing.
Yeah, you have a malcontent that doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, the Sharks are in for an interesting offseason already.
Yeah, yeah, for
Oh my
sure.
god!
Oh, good lord. Oh, good
You know,
times.
it's crazy to think that we've already went over an hour, just like all the other previous episodes, and yet here we are. We're talking about breaking news again. I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised if another trade, broke down or whatever. But it's just hilarious to me that this whole Barkley Goodrow thing that just came out is just, you
yeah.
know.
Same here. And we're probably going to have a lot of interesting things coming up this week because you figure we're only about 8 or 9 days out from the NHL draft, so of course we're going to see stuff heating up between now and then. But at the same time, now it's like, okay, we have some more of these deals going down. What else can we expect?
Yeah, and there's been a lot of chatter about the Sabres as of late, saying Jeff
Mm-hmm.
Skinner could be a potential buyout candidate. And the Sabres have to owe him at $1.5 million by the next
Yeah.
3 years, and then 2028 he'll be owed like 2.44 million if they buy him out, which is
Mm-hmm.
very, very possible. So we really don't know what's gonna happen. And there's also been chatter that John Gibson, Philip Gustafson, and Linus Ullmark are all under the radar for the Buffalo Sabres.
Right. So, Sabres are going to make some moves, as far as I'm concerned. It's just going to be a matter of when. And that's really going to be the key thing. Plus, of course, we're going to have the prospects challenge coming up. So, it'll be interesting to see what some of the rookies do with that and what some of the prospects do on that. But it's going to be an interesting offseason, really, to say the least. And all we can hope for is basically, please, for the love of God, let's have this power play improve next year.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. And the other thing too that came out about the Sabres is the Sabres are looking for some depth pieces that are playing like top six forwards. And the name that's been coming around is William Carrier. And I don't think he wants to go back to Buffalo since
I
he
don't
was
think so
exposed.
either. I don't think so either. And I get it, with Carrier and the type of player he is, but I highly doubt he would want to be back.
I don't
I
know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think how he would fit, with the current line that we have. I'm sure there would be a way to use him properly, but I'm just trying to figure out like how it would be a good fit.
We'll see what happens. I really don't know what's going to happen from here on out. But as far as I'm concerned, there is just so much news that's going to be coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if there were more trades from now to when we record next Friday during our annual NHL draft special, which is
Yeah.
like the last big thing we do before we sign off for the summer. Well, we have this, and then we have tonight's episode, and then we have next Friday for the draft, and then Monday, July 1st at 8 p.m., well, we have more free agent news and trades coming up and all that stuff.
Mm.
These next week and a half is going to be so intense that it's going to be one of the craziest to me, one of the craziest, Buffalo After Dark finales of the
Mm-hmm.
season in a while.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be an interesting week and a half for what we end up seeing here. But there's going to likely be a lot of action. I'm looking forward to seeing what this first round of the NHL draft does, though. Especially
Absolutely.
with some of the different trades that can happen. And of course, we've seen some absolute crazy picks in the past. good old Chinikov, where he was not even in the top 200. So we did see
Yeah.
that, which he is actually somewhat producing for Columbus somehow. I don't know how that was going to happen, but he is doing okay there. And then, I mean, we've seen, of course, the obvious picks that have panned out. So it's always fun to see that, which I was going to say, obviously, we'll be live for it. So, of course, as we go on for that show, join us, and, we'll definitely take any comments. We can certainly, talk with everybody as they're on, so it'll be a lot of fun. But I was going to say, we only went 5 minutes over, so that ain't bad. But I will, of course, there we go, saving the out. So tied at 1 in the bottom of the fourth. I don't know. Any last things you want to jump in and talk about before we wrap up?
At the moment, I don't see anything that we could talk about next, since we pretty much covered pretty much everybody at that point. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty pleased with it in general.
Yeah, definitely. Two last things I'll throw in real quick. So, KeyBank Center renovation continues. Roof is almost done from what I saw previously. And of course, the new big board will be going in sometime over the summer. And then, as I say, if you love barbecue like I do here in the Buffalo area, new place I found, if anyone remembers, good old Kentucky Greg's that used to be open, which my opinion was the best barbecue around here. Amherst, New York, I barbecue for you. Some of the best brisket around, and Chuck's a great guy. So, really cool. He'll let you try stuff too. Plus, I got to see a smoker and actually really enjoy it. So it's a good place. It's right out in Amherst, right by the UB campus. So check it out. That's my shameless plug. And I am not paid to endorse anybody. I'm just saying it because it is actually good. So.
Yeah, and then one more thing I want to talk about real
Mm-hmm.
quick is just a quick reminder that next week on Monday, we will be, not this coming Monday, the following Monday, July 1st, we're going to be announcing during the show the winner of the Philadelphia Phillies tickets for Road to
Mm-hmm.
32. So you have a possibility of meeting us at the game. And if there is no winner, then we'll just find somebody that hopefully will take them. But
Yep.
aside from that, we're hoping that we can have a winner by July 1st. If not, then, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So of course, if you want to jump in and snag tickets, here's what you gotta do: follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, which obviously you guys do if you're watching us because you're pretty much on our page normally. Also, like our Spotify, we want to get that number up, and then, of course, from there, we'll pick a random winner. So it'll be 2 tickets. You guys get to be more in the upper decks. You get to see everybody. Get to hang out with us for a bit as well. And so it'll be my first time in Philly. Actually, it'll be the first of two because I'm double dipping that weekend. But
Yeah, and then and
but you'll
then
get to
you're
meet with
coming down to
us.
see
And
me in the end
yep,
of July.
yep. So yeah, it'll be a fun weekend. And of course, I already have my car rental set for it. And yes, it will be a behemoth SUV again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's gonna be fun. I can't wait.
yeah. I don't know if it'll be the Wagoneer. I can't guarantee that, but it'll definitely be something along those lines. So
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, we're gonna definitely do Road to 32 in Philadelphia again
yep.
with this fucking ginger hammer, and then yeah. So I'm gonna have the drag his soul with me all across Philadelphia to see the Phillies. And there's one last thing I want to say.
Yeah.
Tell everybody what you bought.
Yeah, so I picked up a Bryce Harper jersey on
You picked up
Fanatics.
so how many jerseys do you have now? So you have the Mets and then you have the Phillies?
Yeah, so I got 2 jerseys now. So I have a Mike Piazza orange jersey, the specialty jersey, and then I've got the Bryce Harper home jersey.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, I'll pick it up.
So I guess you're getting a Phillies hat to go with it.
Probably. And I figure that way I don't get beat to death when I'm in that stadium. So
If you
with
turn
those
into
fans.
Tom, if you turn into a Phillies fan, I'm gonna fucking strangle you.
Nah. Nah. I'm doing it to blend in. I don't
Yeah,
feel like
and
getting murdered in Center City there.
nah, I don't think so. And
Nah,
as
we'll
for
be fine.
me, I'm going to the Mets game next week, and there will be a vlog for it. Just a, New York Mets
Nice.
vlog.
Okay.
It's gonna be on Wednesday, June 26th, against the New York Yankees.
There you go. The Subway Series.
Yeah, I'm going to be taking an advantage of the one day we're not recording, and I am going
Mm,
to the Subway Series.
there you go. Good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me when we went last year. We actually took the train into the stadium. And of course, the good old Mets dog, which hopefully we'll see him again when we're there next month.
You know what's funny? I just saw him.
Nice. Still
Yeah.
sporting the pipe as usual.
Well, yeah, of course. He was also wearing a cowboy hat. But the
Nice.
funny thing is that you know that show House of the Dragon that's getting
Mm-hmm.
promoted like herpes all across the media
Yeah.
outlet. So the funny thing is, I never saw Game of Thrones. I never
Yeah,
read the
I didn't
books
either.
either. So the funny thing is, I actually saw the Iron Throne from the show at City Field.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Interesting.
wanted to share that with you because there's a lot of people that like Game of Thrones, and the Iron Chair actually made an appearance in my video that I did recently, where I
Cool.
left the game early because of that massive storm. If you haven't seen it, it was
Mm-hmm.
against the Padres, and I said I think this game's gonna get rained out, and it was raining from all across from Queens to when I got back home in Nassau County. So the next thing you know, I'm going home, and as soon as I came in, stepped in the door, showered, whatever, the game's on. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like the middle of the third inning. I'm like, you son of a bitch. Because the fucking forecast told me that the game was gonna, or not the game, the weather was gonna be heavy rain and 45% chance of raining throughout the night.
Right.
So it manipulated me into thinking that it was gonna get rained down and it was gonna get turned into a double hitter or a double game or whatever you want to call it, a double header. I genuinely thought that was going to be the case, but no, that's not the case at all. I genuinely thought that it was going to be canceled or postponed till
Mm-hmm.
the following day, which I wasn't able to go anyway because I had a party to go to. But
Right.
but I would have been crushed either way. If it wasn't raining, I would have stayed obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
because it rained and there was just massive storms coming in, thunder and lightning, I couldn't stay. So I was
Right.
just like, you know what? I had work the next day and I couldn't do it. So I wanted to stay, but the next game against the Yankees coming up, that's going to be my ticket to basically say, I want to make up for what I did last time.
There you go. There you go. So yeah. Other than that, I really don't have anything else left. I mean, right now it's just top of the fifth, still tied 1-1, and yeah, and of course Rangers just got another strikeout. So that's
Yeah,
where
it's gonna
we're at. But
so it's going to be partly cloudy on Wednesday and 86 degrees. So that right
there you go.
there is a pretty good sign for me.
Yeah, good baseball weather there.
Yeah, I have not been to a Mets Yankees game in over 10 years. So I'm fairly excited to go.
Yeah, it'll be a good one.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
it for me as far as things to talk about real quick.
Yeah, same here. So, of course, everyone who ended up watching, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. And then join us next Friday for the draft. So,
Yeah.
we'll have some fun with
So
that.
so we'll probably be on the air around like 6:45, 7 o'clock before the first pick, and we'll probably go on throughout the whole night like we did for the NFL draft in April.
Yep. So with that, thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it. Take care of yourselves and each other. We will see you next Friday.
See you in a bit.
Hold on one moment.
Recording stopped.
Yep, I'll be right there.
Okay.
Oh, there's a noise coming in my wall. I'm gonna just shut it up. I don't know where it's coming from.
Gotcha.